Commander Susan Brooks stood in the Galactic Council chamber. Her hands gripped the metal rail in front of her. The voting had started an hour ago, and it wasn't going well for Earth. Above her head, giant screens showed the votes as they came in. The crystal beings from Vega went first. Their lights flashed red. Guilty. The bug-like Zephyrins came next. Their many arms moved in the signal for guilty. One by one, every alien species in the galaxy voted the same way. Susan watched as more red lights filled the screens. The fish people from the water world of Aquarius voted guilty. The floating gas clouds from Jupiter's moons voted guilty. Even the peaceful plant creatures from the forest planet voted against humanity. Lieutenant Paul Harrison stood next to Susan. He was younger and couldn't hide his anger as well as she could. "This isn't fair," he whispered. "What crime did we commit? Being too loud. Building things too fast." "Quiet," Susan said softly. She had to stay calm. Earth needed her to stay calm. The council speaker floated in the center of the huge room. It looked like a giant octopus made of light. Its many tentacles moved in slow patterns as it spoke. "The voting is complete. All 212 member species have cast their votes." The room fell silent. Thousands of aliens from different worlds watched from the gallery seats. Some had scales, some had fur, some were made of rock or energy. But they all looked at the two humans with the same expression: relief that the dangerous species would finally be contained. Earth stands accused of aggressive expansion, reckless technological development, and disturbing the peace of our galaxy. The speaker continued. Its voice sounded like wind chimes in a storm. "The verdict is unanimous. Guilty on all charges." Susan felt Paul tense beside her. She put a hand on his arm. "Not yet. Let them finish. The sentence is exile," the speaker announced. "Earth and all human colonies must withdraw from galactic space. You have one standard cycle to remove your species from all territory outside your home system. Any humans found in council space after the deadline will be arrested. One standard cycle. 6 months in Earth time." Susan did the math quickly in her head. Humanity had colonies on 43 worlds, space stations around 100 more, mining operations, research bases, trade posts scattered across thousands of star systems. How could they move 3 billion people in 6 months? The speaker wasn't finished. "During the evacuation period, human ships will be monitored. Any aggressive action will result in immediate military response. The jump gates to Earth will be sealed once the evacuation is complete. This exile is permanent." Now Paul couldn't hold back. "You're condemning us to die. Earth alone can't support our population anymore. We need those colonies for food, for resources." Susan squeezed his arm harder. "Thank you for clarifying the terms," she said, her voice steady and clear. "The people of Earth accept the Council's decision. We will begin preparations immediately." The silence that followed was deafening. Aliens shifted in their seats, tentacles twitching, scales rustling. They had expected arguments, threats, maybe even violence. Humans were known for their emotional responses. This calm acceptance felt wrong. The Altarian ambassador, a tall being made of blue crystal, leaned forward. "You accept." Without protest. Susan turned to face the gallery. 3 billion humans were watching this moment through quantum communicators. Earth's colonies, its ships, its space stations. Everyone was waiting to hear what she would say. "Of course we accept," Susan said. Her smile was polite, professional. "You've made your position very clear. Humanity is not welcome here. We understand completely." She turned back to the speaker. "We'll need the official evacuation orders sent to all human settlements. I assume you have a list." The speaker's tentacles twisted in what might have been confusion. "Yes, of course. But Commander Brooks." "Then we have a lot of work to do," Susan interrupted. "If you'll excuse us, we need to inform our people. 6 months isn't much time." She turned and walked toward the exit. Paul followed, his face still red with anger. As the doors closed behind them, Susan heard the aliens beginning to talk among themselves. They sounded worried. Good, she thought. They should be worried. In the hallway outside, Paul finally exploded. Commander, how could you just accept that? They're destroying us. Susan kept walking. Her smile never wavered. Paul, do you remember the old Earth saying about not throwing stones in glass houses? What does that have to do with everything we've built out here? Every station, every colony, every jump gate. Who maintains it all? Paul stopped walking. Understanding dawned on his face. We do. Every trade route uses our gates. Every medical center runs on our technology. Half their food supply comes from human agricultural worlds. Susan's smile turned sharp. They want us gone. Fine. But they didn't say we had to leave our toys behind. Paul's anger transformed into something else. Something that looked like hope. We're taking it all with us. Every last bolt, Susan confirmed. They want a galaxy without humans. They're about to learn exactly what that means. As they walked toward their ship, Susan activated her communicator. She had calls to make, plans to set in motion. The Galactic Council thought they were exiling a troublesome species. They had no idea what they had just voted for. Earth had been given 6 months to leave. Susan intended to make sure that when humanity left, the galaxy would never forget them. The exile had begun, but it wouldn't end the way the aliens expected. President Lisa Garcia looked out at the crowd filling the United Earth Assembly Hall. Every seat was taken. People stood in the aisles and doorways. Camera drones floated overhead, sending her image to human colonies across the galaxy. Behind her, huge screens showed maps of human space. Red dots marked Earth's 43 colonies. Blue dots showed the 200 space stations. Yellow dots marked the thousands of mining operations and research bases. So many dots, so many homes. My fellow humans, she began. Her voice was calm but strong. 3 days ago, the Galactic Council voted to exile us from their space. They gave us 6 months to leave. The crowd stirred but stayed quiet. They had all watched Commander Brooks accept the verdict. They knew this moment was coming. They think they're punishing us. Lisa continued. They think we'll crawl back to Earth with our heads down. They think we'll abandon everything we've built and disappear quietly. She paused and smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. They're wrong. The screens behind her changed. New images appeared. Massive transport ships, bigger than any ever built. Construction robots working around the clock. Entire cities being carefully taken apart and packed into containers. I'm announcing Operation Exodus, Lisa said. We're not abandoning anything. We're taking it all with us. Every building, every machine, every grain of soil from our terraformed worlds. If they want us gone, we'll go. But we're not leaving them a single atom of human achievement. The crowd erupted. People cheered, cried, hugged each other. The sound was deafening. Captain Kevin Martinez watched the president's speech from the bridge of his ship, the Northern Star. Through the windows, he could see New Phoenix below, humanity's first colony outside the solar system. The city sprawled across the continent, home to 50 million people. Captain, we're getting the evacuation orders, his communications officer reported. Kevin nodded. Put them on the main screen. The orders were simple but shocking. Don't just evacuate the people. Take everything. Buildings, roads, power plants, even the topsoil from the farms. Leave nothing behind. Sir, that's impossible, his first officer, Janet Williams, said. How do we move an entire city? Kevin studied the plans that came with the orders. We don't move it. We take it apart piece by piece. Look, they're sending us construction drones, matter converters, molecular storage units. Everything goes into these new transport ships they're building. Janet whistled softly. They're really doing it. They're stealing our colonies back. Not stealing, Kevin corrected. It was always ours. We built it. We maintained it. Now we're taking it home. In the engineering section of Space Station Alpha, Chief Engineer Ryan Cooper worked with his team to understand their new orders. The station orbited a major trade hub where dozens of alien species met to exchange goods. "Okay, people, listen up," Ryan said to his mixed human and alien crew. "Earth wants us to start disconnecting our systems from the alien sections of the station." Talk, an insect like Zephyrin, raised one of his forearms. "But the human systems run everything. Life support, gravity, power generation. Without them, the alien sections won't function." Ryan shrugged. "Not our problem anymore. They wanted us gone, remember. We're just following orders." The human crew members exchanged knowing looks. The aliens looked worried. Over the next weeks, the galaxy watched in growing alarm as humanity began the largest migration in history. The new transport ships were engineering marvels. Each one could hold an entire city, broken down and stored in compressed matter fields. On Harvest, the galaxy's biggest agricultural world, massive machines worked day and night. They scooped up the rich farm soil that humans had spent decades perfecting. They carefully dug up every fruit tree, every vegetable plant. They drained the lakes and packed up the water purification systems. The Etherian observer sent to monitor the evacuation floated next to Farm Director Sarah Kim. Its ghostly form flickered with distress. "You're taking the dirt?" it asked in disbelief. But this is a living world. You can't just watch us," Sarah said cheerfully. "This soil has Earth bacteria in it, Earth nutrients. It's ours." Your council was very clear. They want everything human gone. We're just being thorough. She pointed to the massive excavators. "Don't worry. I'm sure the bedrock underneath will grow food just fine. Maybe in a few thousand years." The same scene played out across human space. Factories were dismantled bolt by bolt. Hospitals were packed up, including all the medical equipment and research data. Schools vanished overnight, taking their libraries and databases with them. But the real shock came when humans began dismantling the jump gate network. Admiral Julia Chung supervised the operation from the command station. The jump gates were huge structures that created artificial wormholes between star systems. Humanity had built most of them. "Gate 7 is ready for breakdown," her engineer reported. "Begin the process," Julia ordered. On the screen, the massive ring-shaped gate began to fold in on itself. Specialized ships moved in to collect the pieces. In minutes, the shortcut between two major trade systems vanished. Julia's communication system lit up with incoming messages. Dozens of alien species were calling, panicking about their trade routes. She ignored them all. Her Altarian aide approached carefully. "Admiral, the Council is demanding an explanation. Without the jump gates, travel between systems will take months instead of hours." Julia didn't look away from the screen. "Tell the Council they wanted us gone. The jump gates use human technology. We can't leave such dangerous equipment behind. I'm sure they understand." The aide's crystal form flickered with worry. "But the entire galactic economy depends on those gates." Then they should have thought of that before they voted. By the end of the first month, the scope of humanity's departure was clear. They weren't just leaving. They were erasing every trace of their presence. And the galaxy was beginning to realize what they had done. Ambassador Kyle Thompson walked into the Galactic Council meeting room with a smile on his face. The alien delegates had called this emergency session after 2 months of human evacuation. They looked worried. Kyle liked that. The council speaker's tentacles moved nervously as Kyle took his seat. Around the table, representatives from dozens of species watched him carefully. "Ambassador Thompson," the speaker began, "we've called this meeting to discuss certain concerns about your evacuation procedures." Kyle leaned back in his chair. "Oh, is there a problem? We're leaving as requested. Actually, we're ahead of schedule." The vegan representative's crystal body flashed red. "You're dismantling the jump gates." "Yes," Kyle nodded. "Human technology. Very dangerous in the wrong hands. You said so yourselves during the trial. But the trade routes. A furry Centauran started. Will still exist, Kyle interrupted smoothly. Ships can travel between stars the old-fashioned way. Takes a few months instead of a few hours, but I'm sure you'll adapt. The room erupted in angry voices. Tentacles waved, scales rattled, energy beings flickered. Kyle sat calmly through it all, that same polite smile never leaving his face. Furthermore, the Regellian delegate screeched, "Your people are removing infrastructure from mixed-species colonies. Hospital equipment, power generators, water systems. All human-designed and built," Kyle said. "We have the receipts if you'd like to see them." The Etherian ambassador floated forward. "What about the medical facilities? Half the galaxy relies on human doctors and human medical technology." Kyle's smile widened. "We're very touched by your concern. Don't worry. We're leaving you detailed instructions on which local plants can be used for basic remedies. Very traditional. Very safe." "This is outrageous." The Zephyran representative's forearms waved frantically. "You're destroying galactic civilization." "No," Kyle said, his voice suddenly sharp. "We're removing human civilization. You voted for this. We're simply being thorough." On the mining world of Drax 7, Operations Manager Carol Foster supervised the final shutdown. The planet was ugly, nothing but rocks and mining tunnels. But those tunnels held the galaxy's largest deposits of trilithium crystals, the power source for most advanced technology. Carol watched her crews carefully pack up every piece of mining equipment. Massive excavators folded into impossibly small storage units using human compression technology. Kilometer-long conveyor systems vanished into transport containers. The Altarian overseer approached her, his blue crystal form pulsing with anxiety. "Ms. Foster, surely you're leaving the extraction systems. The galaxy needs these crystals." Carol checked her tablet. "Sorry, but these are all human systems. The drills, the processors, the safety equipment, all ours. But without them, how will we mine the trilithium? The old-fashioned way, I guess. Picks and shovels. Though I wouldn't recommend it. Trilithium is pretty toxic without proper handling equipment." She pointed to the nearest tunnel. "We're also collapsing most of the mine shafts. Safety reasons. Can't leave dangerous holes in the ground." The Altarian's glow dimmed. "You're sealing away the crystal deposits." "Not our problem," Carol shrugged. "You've got 4 months to figure something out." Meanwhile, at Research Station Gamma in the Horsehead Nebula, Dr. Amy Chen was having a similar conversation with her alien colleagues. The station had been a joint operation, with scientists from many species working together. "Amy, please," begged Dr. Rix, a plant-like being from the forest world of Verdania. "The plague cure research. Surely you'll share the data. My people are still suffering." Amy felt bad for Rix. They had worked together for years. But orders were orders. "I'm sorry, Rix. All human-developed research has to come with us. Intellectual property laws. But we worked on it together." Rix's leaves turned brown with distress. "You're right," Amy agreed. She handed Rix a small data pad. "Here's all the research you personally contributed. Your observations, your theory notes. Everything else was processed through human computers, using human methods. That makes it ours." She started packing up the laboratory equipment. Quantum microscopes went into cases. Bioscanners disappeared into storage units. Even the coffee machine got packed away. "The navigation improvements for traveling through nebulas?" asked Tichar, a gas being from Jupiter's moons. "Human algorithms," Amy said. "The gravity wave detection system. Human sensors. The cafeteria food recipes." Amy almost laughed. "Definitely human. Though you're welcome to try recreating Thursday's meatloaf special. No one could figure out what was in it anyway." As the weeks passed, alien ships gathered near human facilities, watching the great dismantling. They sent message after message, growing more desperate with each passing day. Trade routes were failing. Medical crises went untreated. Food supplies dwindled as human agricultural worlds packed up their farms. The elaborate web of galactic civilization, built over centuries of cooperation, was falling apart. In the council chambers, emergency sessions became daily events. The aliens argued among themselves, blamed each other, demanded solutions that didn't exist. Perhaps we could negotiate, suggested the vegan representative one day. Offer them something to leave the infrastructure. With what? Snapped the Etherian ambassador. They're taking their entire economy with them. What could we possibly offer? The council speaker's tentacles drooped. Maybe we could apologize. Ask them to stay. Silence filled the chamber. No one wanted to admit the truth. They had made a terrible mistake. The humans weren't just leaving. They were taking the heart of galactic civilization with them. And there were still 4 months left in the evacuation. Dr. Rachel Green stood in the empty hall of the Crimson Nebula Science Station. The research facility had once buzzing with activity. Scientists from 20 different species had worked here side by side. Now, only the human staff remained, and they were leaving too. Final data transfer complete, her colleague Dr. Stephen Ward announced. All human research has been secured and deleted from the shared servers. Rachel looked at the bare walls where awards and discoveries had once hung. This station had cured diseases, unlocked the secrets of dark matter, and mapped distant galaxies. None of that knowledge would remain. Tlak, her Altarian research partner, floated nearby. His blue crystal form pulsed with distress. Rachel, please reconsider. Our work on the stellar plague cure, my world needs it. Thousands are dying. Rachel felt genuine pain as she answered. The cure used human DNA sequencing technology. I can only give you the notes from your own contributions. She handed him a small data crystal. This contains everything you personally discovered. The rest goes with us. But we worked together. Our discoveries built on each other. I know. I'm sorry. Rachel sealed another box of equipment. But the council's ruling was clear. Complete separation. No human technology or knowledge can remain in council space. Across the station, similar conversations happened. The Zephyrin biochemist begged for the enzyme synthesis data. The vegan physicist pleaded for the wormhole stability equations. The humans could only shake their heads and continue packing. In the economic center of the Galactic Trade Hub, Director Gregory Adams oversaw the shutdown of humanity's financial systems. For over a century, Earth's banking networks had helped manage interstellar commerce. Now, those systems were going dark. Sir, I'm getting urgent calls from 17 planetary governments. His assistant, Lisa Park, reported. The Centauri Commonwealth says their entire pension system will collapse without our investment algorithms. Gregory didn't look up from his work. Not our problem. Transfer all human-owned assets to the Exodus accounts. Cancel all loan guarantees. Void all insurance policies. But sir, that will crash their economies. They should have considered that before exiling their economic partners. Gregory typed in another command. Make sure every human credit, every investment, every piece of our financial infrastructure leads with us. On the agricultural research station above Harvest Prime, Dr. Patricia Wilson supervised the extraction of humanity's greatest agricultural achievements. The station had developed crops that could grow in alien soils, creating food security for dozens of worlds. Her Draxi colleague, Vorton, watched in horror as robots packed away seed banks. Dr. Wilson, without those hybrid grains, my planet will face famine. Our entire agricultural system depends on human-developed crops. Patricia paused in her work. She liked Vorton. They'd worked together for years. I'm leaving you the native plant samples you contributed. But the hybrids, the gene modifications, the growth accelerators, those are human innovations. Billions will starve. Then your government should have voted differently. Patricia sealed another container. I'm sure the mighty Draxi can figure out farming. You did it before humans arrived. That was 1,000 years ago. We've forgotten the old ways. Patricia's expression hardened. Then I suggest you remember quickly. The knowledge drain accelerated. Libraries closed as humans downloaded and deleted their contributions. Technical schools shut down as human teachers departed with their curricula. Research databases went dark as human-generated data was removed. Dr. Alan Cruz managed the shutdown of the Galactic Medical Academy. The institution had trained doctors from every known species, sharing human medical knowledge freely. Now that generosity was ending. Professor Cruz, the Academy's Etherian administrator, pleaded, "Surely the medical textbooks can remain. They save lives across the galaxy." Alan looked at the empty shelves where medical texts once stood. Those books were written by human doctors, based on human research. We're taking them home. What about the surgical techniques? The diagnostic procedures? Human innovations? Sorry. Alan packed the last box. Unsure your species' traditional medicine will suffice. You managed before we arrived. The administrator's gaseous form churned with anxiety. We've integrated human medicine so completely. Without it, our healthcare will collapse. Democracy has consequences. Alan replied. Your people voted. This is the result. By the 4th month, the full scope of humanity's importance became clear. They hadn't just been members of galactic society. They'd been its backbone. Their technology, knowledge, and expertise had woven itself into every aspect of alien civilization. On Earth, President Garcia received constant messages from alien governments begging for mercy. Trade deals were offered. Apologies were made. Some even suggested reconsidering the Exile vote. But it was too late. The great dismantling continued. Humanity packed away its gifts to the galaxy, piece by piece. The aliens had demanded separation, and they were getting it. Completely, thoroughly, and devastatingly. In the council chambers, representatives met in confusion and fear. Without translators, they couldn't communicate. Without human advisors, they couldn't solve the growing crisis. Without human technology, their civilizations were beginning to crumble. They had voted to exile Earth, believing humans were the problem. Now they were discovering that humans had been the solution all along. Admiral Nathan Torres stood on the bridge of the Earth ship Exodus, the largest vessel ever built by human hands. Through the massive windows, he could see humanity's great fleet gathering. 10,000 ships carrying 3 billion people and everything they had built among the stars. Status report, he commanded. Captain Diana Rodriguez stepped forward. All civilian ships are accounted for, Admiral. The industrial vessels have completed their collection runs. The mobile habitats are powered and ready. Nathan nodded. It was time for the final phase. Begin Operation Dark Sky. Across human space, the last connections to the galaxy began to shut down. Navigation beacons that had guided ships for centuries went dark. Mining stations that had fed alien factories powered down. Automated medical centers that had served frontier worlds closed their doors forever. On the bridge of a patrol ship near the vegan border, Captain James Miller received his final orders. All units, this is command. Initiate stealth protocol. Go dark in 3, 2, 1. James flipped the switches. His ship vanished from every alien sensor in the sector. The new stealth technology, developed in secret over the past months, bet light and energy around the hull. To the galaxy's scanning systems, the human fleet had simply disappeared. Sir, we're getting panic transmissions from the vegan outpost, his communications officer reported. They're reporting system failures, lost contacts. Ignore them. We're ghosts now. James watched as more human ships vanished from the screens. Set course for the rendezvous point. In the Galactic Council chambers, emergency alarms blared. The massive tactical display that had always shown the location of every major ship now displayed empty space where the human fleet had been. Where are they? The Regellian delegate's tentacles whipped in agitation. 3 billion humans don't just disappear. The Etherian flicked between scanner readings. Our sensors show nothing. It's as if they never existed. The Zephyrin military commander shuddered nervously. Their entire fleet is gone. Cargo ships, military vessels, even the colony transports, all invisible. On the medical station Haven, Dr. Jennifer Blake finished the last shutdown procedure. The station had served the frontier worlds for 50 years, providing emergency care to anyone who needed it. Now its halls were empty, its equipment packed away. "Ma'am, the Draxi colony is reporting a medical emergency," her aide said. "Their outbreak is spreading. They need our help." Jennifer looked at the dark screens, the empty beds. "We're no longer authorized to provide assistance to Council species. Our mission here is over." She walked to the escape pods where the last human staff waited. As their pod launched, the station's lights went out one by one. Another human gift to the galaxy, gone dark. The transportation network felt the loss next. Jump gates failed as their human-built control systems shut down. Ships found themselves stranded between stars. Trade routes that had taken hours now required months of conventional travel. Admiral Kraft of the Collective Fleet watched helplessly as the jump gate before him flickered and died. "Can we repair it?" His engineer's feathers drooped. "The control systems are encrypted with human codes. Without their technicians, we're stuck." Kraft looked at the star charts. What had been a 2-day journey to the home world would now take 8 months. His supplies wouldn't last 3. Earth's weather control satellites around terraformed worlds shut down next. Without human maintenance, carefully balanced climates began to fail. Desert worlds that had been made green started to heat up again. Ice planets that had been warmed began to freeze. Governor Tlax of New Prosperity watched his sky change color as the atmospheric processors went offline. How long before the air becomes unbreathable? His science advisor calculated quickly. Without the human systems, 6 months, maybe less. By the 5th month, the galaxy was in crisis. Economies had collapsed without human banking. Plagues spread without human medicine. Pirates ruled space lanes without human patrols. Worlds faced famine without human agriculture. In Earth's solar system, the final preparations were complete. President Garcia stood before the assembled fleet commanders. Behind them, Earth itself was hidden behind massive shield generators, invisible to any scanning technology. "Ladies and gentlemen, Operation Breakaway begins now. All ships, prepare for departure." The human fleet, invisible and untraceable, began to move. They headed not for any known jump point, but toward the edge of the galaxy itself, toward the void that no species had ever successfully entered. Behind them, they left a galaxy beginning to understand the true cost of fear and prejudice. The aliens had voted to exile humanity. Now they were learning what life without humans really meant. The Council sent desperate messages into the void, begging humanity to return. But the frequencies were dead, the jump points sealed. Earth had vanished as completely as if it had never existed. The galaxy had gotten its wish. Humanity was gone. The void stretched before humanity's fleet like an ocean of perfect darkness. No stars shone here. No planets circled. It was the empty space between galactic arms that every species said was impossible to cross. Dr. Charles Yang stood in the observation deck of the science vessel Horizon. His team had worked for months on the equations. The math said it could be done. The other species had been wrong. The void wasn't empty. It was full of possibility. "Initialize the quantum bridge generators," he ordered. Outside, massive structures came online. Each one was the size of a small moon, built in secret during the evacuation. They arranged themselves in a precise pattern around the fleet. "Energy levels are stable," reported Dr. Nina Patel, his second in command. "The quantum field is forming." Charles watched the instruments carefully. They were about to attempt something no species had ever managed, creating a stable pathway through the void. The technology was based on human physics that the aliens had always dismissed as impossible. "My God," Nina whispered. "It's working." Before them, space itself began to bend. A tunnel of twisted reality formed, leading deep into the darkness. The path was stable, safe, and completely invisible to anyone without human technology. On the command ship, Admiral Torres received the confirmation. All vessels, prepare for void entry. Stay in formation. Follow the beacon ships. One by one, 10,000 ships entered the quantum bridge. Families pressed against windows, watching the strange colors of bent space flash by. Children born during the Exodus saw wonders their parents could barely understand. Captain Helen Ross piloted one of the beacon ships. These special vessels guided the fleet through the quantum tunnel, making sure no one got lost in the impossible geometries of folded space. Steady as she goes, she told her crew. The journey will take 3 weeks. Then we'll reach the other side. Back in Council space, the galaxy fell into deeper chaos. The Galactic Council met in emergency session after emergency session, but without human translators, they couldn't understand each other. Each species was trapped in its own language bubble. The vegan representative held up a tablet showing economic charts. All red, all falling. The wealth of entire systems was evaporating without human banking systems. The Zephyrin delegate displayed images of dying crops. Without human agricultural science, food supplies were failing on 100 worlds. The Etherian flickered with reports of spreading diseases. Without human medicine, old plagues were returning, and new ones couldn't be stopped. But worst of all were the messages from frontier worlds. Without jump gates, without patrols, without communication networks, entire civilizations were being cut off from each other. The galaxy was fragmenting into isolated pockets. 3 weeks later, humanity's fleet emerged from the void into a new galaxy. The first thing they saw took their breath away. 3 suns dancing together, their combined light painting space in colors no human had ever seen. Scans showed 12 habitable worlds in this system alone, reported the survey team. No signs of advanced civilization. It's all ours. President Garcia stood on the bridge of the Exodus, tears in her eyes. We made it. We're home. The fleet spread out, each ship heading for its assigned world. The mobile habitats took up orbits. The industrial vessels began unpacking cities. The agricultural ships looked for the best places to plant Earth's stolen soil. Within days, the first human settlements were taking shape under alien suns. Children played in the light of 3 stars. Farmers tested new Earth under strange skies. Scientists studied phenomena that would have amazed their former colleagues. But the real moment of triumph came when the communication systems powered up. Madam President, the communications director reported, we're detecting signals from this galaxy. 3 species, all primitive, all curious about us. Garcia smiled. Open channels. Let's introduce ourselves properly this time. The first contact was with a species that looked like Earth's dolphins, but lived on land. They were friendly, eager to learn, excited about the new neighbors who had appeared from nowhere. You came from another galaxy. Their leader asked through the newly calibrated translators. How is that possible? We'll be happy to share our knowledge. Garcia replied. We believe in cooperation, in mutual benefit. But first, let us tell you about ourselves, our history, our hopes for the future. As humanity began making friends in their new home, their old galaxy continued to struggle. The Council tried desperately to re-establish contact with Earth, but it was impossible. The humans had vanished so completely that some species began to wonder if they had ever existed at all. Only the failing systems, the silent jump gates, and the empty worlds remained as proof that humanity had once been there. The galaxy had exiled Earth. Now they were learning that some decisions couldn't be taken back. In their new home, humanity thrived. They built cities under triple suns, made friends with species who welcomed them, and created a future where fear and prejudice had no place. They had been pushed from their first home, but in trying to cage humanity, the galaxy had only set them free to find a better one. 6 months had passed since humanity disappeared. The Galactic Council chamber was a shadow of its former glory. Paint peeled from walls. Lights flickered and died. Without human maintenance, even the mighty council building was falling apart. The speaker floated at the center, its tentacles drooping with exhaustion. The few representatives who could still travel to the capital sat in worried silence. Most couldn't make the journey anymore. The jump gates were dead, and conventional travel took too long. Trade in Sector 7 has completely stopped. The Regellian delegate reported through a crackling translator. The device was alien-made, poor quality compared to the human version. Without jump gates, our merchant ships can't reach their destinations. The vegan representative's crystal form had lost its shine. Medical emergency on 12 of our worlds. The plague is spreading. Our doctors don't know how to stop it without human research. The Zephyrin clicked its mandibles sadly. Food riots on our outer colonies. The crops are dying. We tried to plant our old native species, but we've forgotten how to grow them. Every report was the same. Systems failing. Economies crashing. Diseases spreading. Worlds starving. The great galactic civilization was crumbling like sand. The Etherian delegate flickered weakly. Perhaps we made a mistake. A mistake. The Draxi's scales rattled with bitter laughter. We exiled the species that held our society together. We threw away the beings who made our prosperity possible. That's not a mistake. It's suicide. In the historical archives, a young Altarian researcher named Quelix studied the old records. Before the vote, before the exile, there had been warnings. Human philosophers had written about the interconnectedness of galactic society. Human economists had shown how much the aliens depended on Earth's contributions. Human scientists had explained that cooperation made everyone stronger. The aliens had ignored them all. Look at this, Quelix told his colleague, showing a data crystal. The humans offered to share everything freely. Technology, medicine, knowledge. All of it. They only asked for respect and equality in return. His colleague's crystal form pulsed with regret. And we called them dangerous. We said they were too ambitious, too aggressive. But look at us now. They're gone, and we're dying. Quelix found more records. Videos of human teachers patiently explaining complex ideas to alien students. Images of human doctors working tirelessly to save alien lives. Data showing human engineers maintaining systems across the galaxy without asking for credit. They never forced their help on anyone, he realized. They just offered it, and we were so afraid of their energy, their passion, that we pushed them away. On the former human colony of New Haven, a Centauri salvage team searched the empty city. They hoped to find some working technology, some forgotten database, anything that might help their failing world. Captain Vrex led his team through the spotless streets. The humans had taken everything, even the streetlights. Only bare ground remained where a thriving metropolis had stood. "Sir, I found something," one of his crew called. Vrex hurried over. In what had been the city's central square, a single monument stood. The humans had left it as their only message to the galaxy. Words were carved into the stone in 100 languages. You feared us because we dared to dream. You exiled us because we refused to bow. We leave you with the galaxy you wanted. One without human ambition, human innovation, human hope. May you find it to your liking. The people of Earth. Vrex stared at the words until his eyes burned. Around him, his crew stood in shameful silence. Back in the council chambers, the speaker called for order. We must try again to contact Earth. Apologize. Beg them to return. How? The vegan delegate asked bitterly. We don't even know where they went. Their technology is beyond us. Their stealth systems make them invisible. We cast them out, and now we can't find them even if we wanted to. The Regellian's voice was heavy with defeat. They warned us. They said democracy has consequences. They said we'd learn the true cost of fear and prejudice. The chamber fell silent. Outside, more lights failed. Another jump gate went dark. Another world lost contact. The great galactic civilization continued its slow collapse. In their arrogance, they had voted to exile Earth. In their fear, they had driven away their greatest allies. Now, as their society crumbled around them, They'd finally understood what they had lost. But understanding came too late. The humans were gone, thriving in their new home among triple suns, and the galaxy they left behind was learning the hardest lesson of all. Some mistakes can't be taken back. Some bridges, once burned, can never be rebuilt. The exile was complete, but it wasn't humanity that suffered in the end. 5 years had passed since humanity vanished into the void. In a galaxy far from the one they'd left behind, the human race had built something wonderful. President Lisa Garcia stood on the observation deck of Terra Nova Station. The view still took her breath away. 3 suns danced in the sky. 1 blue, 1 yellow, 1 orange. Their combined light painted 12 human worlds in colors never seen on Earth. Madam President, the Shimmers are here for the trade meeting, her aide, Robert Chu, announced. Lisa smiled. The Shimmers were the dolphin-like creatures humanity had met first. They'd become fast friends and eager trading partners. Unlike the old galaxy, these beings saw humans as equals from the start. In the farming valleys of New Eden, children played under the triple sunrise. Maria Santos watched her daughter pick fruit from trees that had been carefully transplanted from Earth. The soil they'd taken from their colonies had mixed with local Earth, creating something new and beautiful. "Mama, why did the mean aliens make us leave?" little Sophia asked. Maria knelt beside her daughter. "They were afraid of us, sweetheart. Afraid because we were different. But their fear led us here, to a better home." "I like it better here," Sophia decided. "We have 3 suns and nice alien friends." Above them, construction crews worked on humanity's newest project. Jump gates were rising again, but these were different. They had safeguards, protections, and a new rule. Only species that treated humans with respect could use them. Admiral Nathan Torres, now head of the Exploration Corps, met with the Council of 3 Suns, the democratic body that governed humanity's new home. "We've made contact with 2 more species in the outer systems," he reported. "The Crystal Weavers and the Cloudancers. Both are interested in trade and cultural exchange." "What's our approach?" asked Council Member David Kim. "Same as always. Open hands, open minds. We share knowledge freely with those who see us as equals." Nathan smiled. "But this time, we keep safeguards. We've learned our lesson about one-sided relationships." In the science labs of New Horizon University, Dr. Charles Yang taught a mixed class of humans and shimmers. The alien students floated in water-filled tubes while humans sat at desks. Universal translators, better than the old ones, let everyone understand perfectly. "Today we'll study quantum bridge mechanics," he announced. "This is the technology that brought us here. That let us cross the void everyone said was impossible." A young shimmer raised a flipper. "Professor, will humans share this technology with us?" "Of course," Charles replied. "But remember our agreement. Knowledge is shared among equals. As long as we respect each other, we grow together." In the new capital city of Trinity, President Garcia met with Ambassador 3 Ripples of the Shimmers. The alien skin patterns shifted with emotion as they discussed their latest project. "The medical exchange program is working wonderfully," 3 Ripples reported. "Your doctors are learning our healing songs. Our healers are studying your surgery techniques. Together, we've already cured 2 diseases." "This is how it should be," Lisa said. "Different species, different strengths, working together as equals." Through her window, she could see children playing in the parks, human children and young shimmers splashing in the fountains together. No fear, no prejudice, just joy. 10-year-old Tommy Chen, born during the Exodus, had never known Earth. To him, home was this place of 3 suns and friendly aliens. He played with his shimmer friend, Bubble Singer, creating art that mixed human drawing with alien light patterns. "My teacher says humans came from far away," Bubble Singer said. "Is it true you had only 1 son?" "That's what my mom tells me," Tommy replied. And the aliens there were mean. They didn't want to be friends. "That's silly," Bubble Singer decided. Being friends is the best part. As the sun set in their complex dance, humanity's new worlds glowed with life and hope. Cities grew, trade flourished, knowledge flowed freely among species that respected each other. Lisa Garcia stood in her office, looking at an old photo of Earth. She felt no anger toward the galaxy that had exiled them. In trying to cage humanity's spirit, they had set it free. In pushing humans away, they had pushed them toward something better. A child's laughter drifted through her window. Human and alien voices mixed in play. This was humanity's future, not as exiles, but as builders of something new. Not as outcasts, but as the heart of a young alliance based on mutual respect. She touched the photo gently, then put it away. Earth would always be humanity's birthplace. But here, under three suns, among friends who saw them as equals, humanity had found its true home. The galaxy had voted to exile Earth. In the end, they had done humanity the greatest favor possible. They had set them free to find their destiny among the stars.